These, hey, and then it says alias 4. So we don't have to really know that, and we find inputs, right? Click on the arrow, integers, click on that, and then we can choose an input. So we'll choose input 0, and then we'll say correct. So I got that pretty good. So local colon 1 colon n dot data dot dot data dot 0. Looks like there's, yeah, dot 0. But we don't need to know that, right? You understand that because it's for us. So this is the base tag. This is the alias tag. Over here, we do the same thing with our timer. We come up here, we right click on that and say what? New tag. Give it a name. And then this is a base tag, right? By default, this is the data type. So by default, it gives us the data type called timer, which basically sets up an array, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So on everything that's needed for timers. And then we can do what? We can create. Then we have the preset value.
I like that stuff better than this and as far as blocking stuff on it.
It is, because you got to, here in RSLogic 500, you have to figure out what data file does it go into, right? And then when you called it T4.0, you know, it didn't give it a tag, and then you had to remember it. When you addressed it, you could address it down into contact, and you could use the symbol between them. This works out really, really well. So I was looking for my Zoom. I don't know where it's at on here. Y'all see it up here? Huh? I think it's, yeah, Control plus or Z. Ain't it? Yeah, but there's something you can hit. Yeah, I know, but there's a way you can do it with a shortcut key. So Alt Z makes it smaller. So Shift Alt Z, there we go. So Shift Alt Z. I knew there was a shortcut. And I deleted my name. Of course, it's probably still in there. So yeah. Okay, then what do we need to do if we want to send this to the PLC? Preset. We need a preset. According to the PowerPoint, it's immediate addressing, which means we have to supply it. So what if I wanted 1 second? What would I enter here? Yeah, 1,000. Everybody okay? So we don't have to worry about the time base. We just got to know engineer notation. And the accumulator is 0. We'll go out there and see who's active, see if my PLC is still there. It is. And I'm using USB, by the way. Okay. And we'll close it. That's not true. If I go ahead and put go online, it's going to ask me, do I want to download the program that's already in. So we know we can create the programs without actually being connected to the PLC, right? And some of y'all are doing that. I think Jeremy is doing that, and when he gets through, he'll connect it up and check it. And we got our PLC and remote. By the way, the switch is up behind this little thing right here. So we got 3 modes we can put the PLC in. We can put it in the run mode. We can put it in the remote mode, or we can put it in the program mode. Same as the other one, right? So we got ours in remote, which means what? Huh? computer switches it, yeah. The computer will switch it, our application will switch it between the two, it'll switch it to program, and then it'll ask us, do we want to switch to run? Remote, do we want to switch to remote run? And of course, it does a lot like the 500 software does, where it turns the two rails, power rails, turns them green, indicating the signal is ready, right? And then when I come over and close switch 0, switch 0, then the timer starts timing. Done bit, everybody okay there? So we got the same bits. So how do we address the bits? So I'm going to insert another run. How do we address the status bits? The status bits. We got timer enable, we got timer timing, and timer done. So how would I address the timer done? Yeah, timer, right? Yeah. And this is another thing, so you don't have to remember when to use the flash, you don't have to remember when to use the period. We just use periods all the time, and let the program and application figure out that's a bit. So we could set up our tags right here. Right now we're doing the local tags. And then we could go to edit. And notice my two timers are already there. I'm going to click on this arrow right here. So what it did, it automatically set up what we call an array. An array is a group of memory locations that contains information that we can easily access. So we'll have a counter. We'll set that up and see what's available there. So here's our array. It automatically did that for us. We're going to set up one. Then I could come up here. Here's a blank space, and I could come up here and start typing in the name. So what I'll do is I'm going to come over here. Right now, by default, it sets it up for a double word integer, right? I'm going to make it Boolean. So when you do an on-the-fly tag, it picks what number system you think goes with that. Here, if we do it in the tag chart, we have to make sure if I want a timer, I have to select timer, right? You understand that? And then A is 4, so A is 4, same way, right? But here I'd pick outputs, integers, and then I have to select that, and then you have to give it a tag name. Or you could have gave it a tag name first. And just hit enter, and that's how you do that. So this is the way you would assign your tags before you started programming. Yeah, that's just what I named it. I could have named it anything. I could have named it output Fred, right? I hit 2 zeros by accident, and that's what I think. Just a good example. Go back to the main routine. And then down here, I can just start typing out, and it starts filling it in for me. You hit the right arrow to move it all the way to the end, and then I can hit that, and it automatically puts the data in there. So local means it's inside the PLC or it's inside a module connected to the PLC. Over the output data is there. So, okay. So now this is timer timing, so this should be true. So I could download it again. So download, you go to communications. I think y'all's is on top. Mine for some reason popped in there, but that's okay. Click download, and then it goes through the procedure. Oh, by the way, RS Logic 5000 lets you get by with a lot of stuff.
That's what's going to ask you there about that error bar down there.
What do you mean?
The one you just clicked on that was at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, it's not an error, it was a little X out. So what it does, it pops up and shows you the status of the download, and it tells you information about the download itself. It says it was successful. So that pops up automatically, but it takes up you could leave it down there, but it takes up some of your room. That's a good question. But what you notice is I can do what with this guy? I can change the preset when it's online. So RS Logic 5000 lets you do a lot of stuff that RS Logic 500 doesn't let you do. Okay, so we changed it. So we can start at time. In fact, why is it timing? Oh, it's already come down. And of course, when it stops timing, so we use the timer timing kit. So everybody okay with that? So what's an array? It's a group of memory locations. And we'll show y'all in a minute how you can create your own array if you're going to keep some information you needed to get to real fast. So counters are going to automatically create an array. But it only creates it if you use it, right? So that's the big problem. One of the problems we have with RS Logic 500 is you've got all that memory out there assigned to timers if you don't even use what? If you don't even have a single timer in your program. So it didn't manage memory very, very well. Okay, so that's on delay. We can go offline and change it to an off delay. Oops, wrong finger. Offline. It will come up here, right here, and you don't have to look it up. You can change it to what? Do it, or you can come in here and type in COL. So that's pretty neat too. But you got to understand, you got to know all those acronyms, right? Okay, so I can change that to an input port. So we can download this. So see, this is just the status down here. And what I did, I didn't click on the arrow, I clicked on the little X right there. See, wait on it. So here the time starts winging. So right now this is contact is true. And when the input goes to the timer goes false, this is an off delay, that's when it starts timing. Are we okay? Everybody okay? By the way, you can close your program. Just ask me, do I want to save this? Okay. And then you can actually come up here and open. So you don't have to go back. You can do what? Come right here and say what? New. Yeah, so you don't have to go out, and it'll bring you back to the original menu. This will be a little faster too. Let me see if I can, let me go back. You got it open. Okay, so main routine. Okay. So Shift, Alt, Z, zooms in, and then just Alt, Z, zooms out. Okay, so I came up. So here we got a down counter instruction. And notice I have a preset of 10. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and download, oh, it's already in here. We'll go ahead and download it to the PLC. Because the question came up at the last class. So So the question came up for the last class, if the counters, see who's that. Somehow it lost my PLC for a second. One. I'm input 0, right? And right now we have a preset of 10. So what's the problem? So what does that mean? What does this mean?
The accumulator count. What's the load?
Uh-huh. So the down counters on this work exactly the same way as they do in 500. So it means what we probably need to do is we got one option. We can load this with a negative number, right? Like a -9 if we want to get 10 counts. Remember that? The done bit starts off true. So we got to be more negative. The accumulator's got to be more negative than the preset. Everybody remember that, right? So now 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Okay, it's 9. And then one more count. The done bit goes false. So here we would probably use an examinative. We'll probably use a normally closed contact if we wanted to do what? To trigger the next one when it's done. We got another option where we can come up here and do this. So let me reset just like the 0. So here I'm going to start off with the preset set at 0. And then I'm going to come up here and on this move instruction and I'm going to set it to 9. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it true, right? 1. And notice now the accumulator of my down counter starts off with 9 instead of 0. And then I'm going to come up here and count it. 0, then it goes what? Oh, wrong one. Then it goes 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, but we still have to go 1 past, right? So that's another option. If you don't want to load it with a negative number, just put a positive number in the accumulator. But the problem is that when I come up here and reset it, if I use the reset instruction, it would go, the accumulator would go to 0. So we would, instead of resetting it, we would do what? We would just move the same number in there every time. That makes sense? Yes, no? Are you okay? So down counters, up counters, do exactly this like they do. The only big difference we have is that we have to assign the counter a name, so we don't have to have an address. We assign the counter a name. A base tag, right? We assign it a base tag. And then with the move instruction, you put your source and then where you want to put it at. So notice here, we're saying destination, and I'm putting it in the accumulator. So we could use this if we want the down counter to count down. You know, instead of loading the preset with a negative number, we can load the accumulator with a positive number, and we can actually see it do what? Count down. That make sense? Okay, so we looked at this. So the timer itself has to have a tag, and then immediate address, it means we put the number, we can put the number in there with a move instruction, right? But these are not tagged. These are gonna be the number or it's going to be loaded with a movie. That make sense? And they're double integers, so we don't have any we don't have any say-so in, what these things are. But still, that gives us like 1.2 billion counts, right? Or timers. Counters, autolay. Everybody okay on this? Yes, no? Okay. Retentive timer, what's the difference between a retentive on delay timer? What's the difference between a retentive timer and the other timer? And one of them we have to reset, right? This one we have to reset. And the reset instruction is exactly the same, but what you do is you give the reset, you don't have to give it you give it the same name as the timer, right? Or you just type in are we okay? Move instruction. So move instruction is source to destination. So source is, you can load this with something, by the way. But we could take this, and it's not a move, it's not technically a move, it's actually a copy. Copy is the source into the destination. Source can be immediate or direct or tag address, and the destination has to be a tag address, not a tab address or a tag address. I thought I corrected it. Y'all understand? my cap lock thing. Everybody okay there? Very powerful instruction. Data types, we can move small integers, we can move integers, we can move double integers, or we can move real numbers. You can load it with a tag, or you can load it immediate. And of course, the destination has got to be a tag. Got to get a tag address where you want to put it. All you got to do is just make sure the numbering systems are the same. So this is the same one we did in PLC 1, where we could actually set this, even though it's immediate address, and we could actually turn it into a variable, right? Because here we can load with two different numbers. Anybody need to see that program run? Huh? Yes, no? I think I got it on there. I'm not going to write it if I can't find it. So here's my program. By the way, once you, I got my tags really small. I mean, my icons down here on my taskbar are really small. To load up another program when you got one running, you don't double click on this anymore. Here's your program over here with this little icon right there. You know, so that's this program. And once you got a program, you don't have to edit out to start a new program, right? What can you do? You can come up and do what? Just come up to File and choose what? Yeah, I usually close this one out. And then it tells me if I need to save it or not. And then we can come up and do what? Open, yeah. And here you can point it toward your thumb drive, right? So this is, let's see what I got. I know I got it in here, guys, because I cut that down counters. I don't see it. Wiring check, time delay, move, time delay, time delay. So here you're just going to go right through here, right? So the move instructions over here in the move group. So we're going to put a move, put another, and then we're going to come here and put a move. And we'll put a couple of inputs. And then we're going to have a timer in here. And then we'll put an input here, a timer. We'll go into tags, edit tags, input, 0, what's it going to be? Oh, yeah. And then an alias for input, integer, 0. And we'll call the next one input, 0. So that's the only big difference. If you do it, if you enter it, you got to know what numbering system you're using. Right? Integer, input 1. Oh, dang, Rich. Let me rename it. Yeah. Nope, we don't need a tag on that. Let's see what we need. We might need to go back to this cell. Let's go back to the So move, source. So this, we don't need tags over here. This is going to be immediate. And where are we going to put it at? We got to give our timer a name. So, move instructions don't get one. I know that. Timer, 1. Of course, it don't choose us for it automatically, so we'll go over here. Start timer. There we go. And then that's all we need, right? No alias. Alright, so let's do that. Yeah, come on. Preset. Oops. So how would address the timer's preset value? In fact, we can leave this there if we're going to load it. So I would address the timer's preset value. That's a timer. Hit the right arrow. Dot preset, right? This would be 1500. Yep. 15,000 is the 15 seconds. Yeah. And then we'll send this to time 1. Oops. Preset. We haven't assigned it yet. Input 0, right? Input 1. Input So what I did then was assign the tag before I started the program, right? A lot of times that's a little faster, especially if you know what you're doing. You can go ahead and do the tags. So once you got your tags done, you're dealing with names. You're not dealing with addresses anymore, right? For some reason, when I start a new program, you don't. Fail to set tag.
You get the difference.
Yeah, I know. I keep doing it. Fail to set tag input 099 is invalid. Oh, yeah, but I did want to put it. So, oh, it's, oh, I see what's going on. It's telling me this, it's telling me this, somehow I got this tag.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't want to edit that. Okay, there we go. How did I get that? How did I do that?
But you carried it up there.
And Mr. Raymond, have you heard anything about, the Kansas school performance award?
I'm signed up for Cougar Alert just like hopefully you are.
I don't know if you got first.
No, they don't give that information out. Because if they did and I told you that and then it didn't happen, then, so no, they don't tell us. We know, I know when you know. And that's a good point. I understand that, but yeah. So none of the instructors know. I don't even think Nancy knows. So it's up to Dr. Anthony and Dr. Crawford. He's the one that, now I can't find my PLC. So, for some reason on this, it's dropping my. So the original program had several things down below that inside the PowerPoint. And go back to main routine. And then, so now what we got is we can come up here and hit switch 0. And it loads the timer with 10 seconds. Or if we hit switch 1, it loads the timer with 15 seconds. So what this gives us the ability to set up a variable. So what's the difference between a constant and a variable?
Constant and variable changes.
We can't change without changing the program. So that's basically that program there, even though I didn't. So how do you zoom?
It's just control Z, right?
Yeah. Shift control Z, no. Shift alt Z. No.
Control Z.
It said control Z was zoom out.
Yeah,
And then shift control Z.
It's not doing anything. Shift alt Z. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's just off.
Yeah. I thought it was alt Z. So especially if you don't have a lot of lines, this is very, very small. So shift alt Z, zooms in. Makes it a lot easier for us people that can't see.
I like how it springs all in.
Huh?
I like how it springs all over there instead of making ceramic all.
Yeah, but the more lines you get, you're about to start zooming out, you know. So, I didn't see the interlock timers. Y'all remember how that goes? If I wanted to do the interlock timer? Huh? what we would do is, so let's go to new, and it's going to tell me to save it. And we'll go to, let me see if I've got one out there first. Not, I see, I don't know. Time on delay, time delay. So a lot of times you'll go out in the industry, of course, you'll see lights flashing. So this is one way that we can flash lights. By the way, you can do the same thing with RS Logic 500. You can go up there on file and say new without going out and to start a new program. Find these on fly, so I'm gonna right click, new tag. We'll call it start. We'll give it, since it's an input, we'll give it an alias. And we'll input 0. We'll give this a name. We'll call this timer 1. Give it notification. Here we don't give it an alias. This is going to be a base tag, right? Down here we'll call this that timer 2. So down here we'll call this timer 1 dot timing. This is going to be timer 2 timing. This right here would be, I don't see that rich. Timer 1 timer. Every time I start a new program, it somehow loses my communication, but that's okay. One take a minute. I thought I clicked on one. Yes, it is. Oh, we have to put values in this one. Let's put, let me change this. Yeah.
It's time sometimes. It says doesn't match the project in the control. That's the kind of thing.
Okay, guys, I'll take a break. It won't let me do a preset right here. 10 minutes, right?
fix it, I'll update the software.
No, I didn't.
I just remember on Blackboard, there was one of the quizzes that was, said it was due to the not.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I was just making sure.
I think I went out and took the due dates out.
Okay.
Man, I found that one of them this morning. I mean, when I got outside, I was working on that. It says late, I'm like,
Yeah,
Right.
I looked at, I was trying to work on it before I did it.
This thing ain't gonna work, guys. I'm not gonna spend any more time on it. What we can, what the PLC provides, this is for our Logic 500, is it provides a status register called S4. And there is a free running clock in there that we can use, if we need the time. So the interlock time is okay, but, this would probably be more precise. So these are the divide by. So these start off. This gives you the time. What you do is you choose which speed you want to cause your lights to flash, which is pretty cool. And I don't have a 500 set up here. This is the 500's real time clock. So all these PLCs have real time clocks on them. Of course, our 5000 doesn't call it a real time clock, where you could actually make things happen on a certain day or a certain date.
What's the last three on the address?
What's that?
Oh, never mind.
You say it? You okay?
What would this table be?
What's that?
What would this table be?
This would be you could disable the time. Stop it.
oh, just like,
Or it means it's disabled. So this would give you the year, the month, the day of the month, the hour of the month, the second, minute to the second of a real-time clock. And later on, we're going to get into what we call compare instructions, which would allow you to make things happen on certain days, like, every Wednesday or something like that. But this is built in, so what even Siemens PLCs don't have a register that's just there. You have to access this. So what we have, so this is, I don't know why it wouldn't work. There it is. I've had it working before. So this is what we learned in our side. This is what we learned back in PLC 1 to cause a flash and make a light flash. Is to cross couple the time. And so, of course, timer 1 comes in first because it scans first, right? You gotta remember that. And so then it would stop flopping around. Well, mine didn't do it, even though it looks like mine was right. I'm gonna go back and check it later on. Or we could come up and instead of us doing this, we could just use one of these timing bits. Does that make sense?
We address it the same way in the Studio 5000?
No, we will, but we have to set it up. We have to set up our own array. That's what I'm fixing to show you how to do. So yeah, so I could come up here on this, and I could say S4. So I could assign a contact to S4 colon and let's say 7, and it would flash at this rate right here, about 1 second. It would flash off and on, off and on. And then I could come over here and put that on my light, and then I wouldn't have to use cross couple time. So, or I could go into the real time clock, and I could use this bit right here, and I could use this, the seconds. So I could use the seconds, and it would flash in 1 second, instead of trying to use the cross couple times. And hopefully I can find my program. So, in Studio 5000, or RSLogic 5000, of course an array, we've talked about an array, everybody okay with that? So this is, we'll assign them a group of addresses that are very easy. We put like information in them, we can go through them and address them really, really easy. Select the controller tag in the project. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up, so on RSLogic 5000, these system variables is not readily available. We have to use an instruction called get system value, GSV. And then we go out and we tell it what values we want to bring into an array. That makes sense? So what we'll do is we'll come in here and create an array. And it's not hard to do for us to create. So we get arrays automatically. So when we create a counter, we get an array. It automatically builds an array for us. When we pull in our timer, it automatically creates an array for us, right? You understand? Even though we say timer, it actually takes multiple dents to create that. So over here, what we would do, and that thing looks right. So this is timer 1, this is timer 3, this is timer 1, timer timing, this is timer 3, timer timing, and that starts it all. So I don't know why it's not switching around. It did go online, right? And then timer 1, timer timing will actually flash the light. So while it's flashing, so this guy here should flash 1/2 second on, 1/2 second off. So it's working right. Look, the program looks right. So, and it didn't go online for me.